At this, I would like to turn today's program over to Darren Cunningham from Informatica Cloud. Darren, you may begin.
Everybody, thank you for joining today's webinar. This is the first time attending an Informatica Cloud webinar, we do host these monthly. So do check in regularly at informaticacloud.com to see what our next topic will be. We are very excited today to have a really fantastic presenter, Leanne Chen from Ray Systems, will be taking us through how they went about integrating Oracle ERP, Oracle Enterprise Business Suite, R12 actually, with Salesforce. And it's an interesting story and a really interesting company. So we're excited to have Leanne join us on today's webinar. With Mark Murray, who many of you know if you've attended other Informatica Cloud webinars or presentations, is one of our real experts on the cloud service from Informatica. And he'll be spending quite a bit of time diving into a demonstration and really sharing some best practices. So if you're attending today live, you can use the panels on the right-hand side. We do make this as interactive as possible. So we have a Twitter handle at InfoCloud if you want to do some real-time tweeting. We are always in favor of that. So I want to start with a polling question, and you'll actually see the poll on the right-hand panel as well. I wanted just to find out from today's attendees, how many systems are you integrating Salesforce with today? So, Josh, if you can go ahead and put that poll for everyone to be able to put answers. The first is, we've just gotten started with Salesforce, or we've had it for some period of time, and we haven't done any integration. Sort of a siloed view of Salesforce. The second we see is companies moving towards integrating databases with Salesforce. So the second choice would be 1 to 3 databases, whether it's Oracle or another database on the market. The choice on the list on the right-hand side, which I see is now displayed, is ERP. And this, what we're really going to be talking about today, as I mentioned, Ray Systems is integrating Oracle ERP with Salesforce. You're integrating your CRM or your Force.com platform with ERP. That would be C. And then D is more of kind of first, what we're seeing a lot of large organizations moving towards is integrating multiple systems with Salesforce and really establishing a master data management strategy within their company. So go ahead and put your answers in on the right-hand side, and we'll just display those results now. If you can give us a second to display those results. I want you into the question early, Leanne. Where do you fit into this at Ray Systems?
Well, as you had mentioned, we've completed Salesforce to the R12 ERP on Oracle system. So that's in place for about over a year now. We're looking into do a integration with the FileMaker Pro with the I think the Salesforce for our own new products, and I've been in touch base with some of the application folks at Informatica. Those are about the only 2 integrations that we plan to use the Informatica Cloud for.
Okay, so it's interesting looking at the poll results. We see quite a few folks have answered, so maybe we see a lot of people just coming into the webinar, but quite a few have listed nothing yet. A few have said it's kind of mixed results. 1 to 3 databases, about 15%. Nobody on the call is integrating ERP, so there's probably a lot of folks that want to hear how that's going. So looking forward to diving into that with you. So let's keep moving. What I'm going to do in today's agenda is cover briefly some of the benefits we see at Informatica for establishing the right cloud integration strategy. Then it's going to take us through the case study of what's happening over at Ray Systems. And then Mark and I will really kind of introduce Informatica Cloud to you. And I mentioned he'll really be spending most of the time live in the cloud service through Informatica Cloud in action. To set up what we're seeing at Informatica is it's no longer a matter of, are you going to move to the cloud? It's not an either-or proposition. It's a matter of needing both. You need on-premise systems, you need cloud-based systems, and you really establish a strategy of integrating systems together to really maximize the value. So we call it really the rise of hybrid IT, whether it's software as a service, platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service. Your new hybrid IT organization really is all about the cloud and your legacy environment. And I like this quote from Qualcomm, which came from a Wall Street Journal article, where he said, "We used to have the luxury of thinking about our four walls." And this is clearly, top of mind for IT executives and really, all levels of both business and IT. How can we move to the cloud in a really cost-effective and rapid way, and make sure we're benefiting from all the things we're going to talk about in terms of cloud service benefits, cloud platform benefits, and cloud infrastructure benefits. So every day, we're constantly talking to our customers and talking to organizations who are thinking about data migration or data synchronization. How to really migrate to or synchronize with cloud applications. We hear like this from IT leaders. We're looking to do more with less. Our job is to make sure that the business doesn't hurt themselves. So there's sometimes some concern over the self-service benefits of cloud services. Came in through the back door and it wasn't necessarily blessed by corporate IT in the initial phase of the implementation. Or I like this last quote, when it comes to cloud computing, we can either get on this train or we can get run over by it. And what we're finding is more and more of organizations we're working with are establishing what they're calling cloud-first types of strategies in their organization. And we're seeing really 4 key benefits, and I think Leanne will talk about a few of these from her perspective. One, greater adoption of the SaaS applications. In particular, we work a lot with Salesforce.com customers, and they tell us all the time about the benefits of bringing more relevant information to their users, so they don't have to go into multiple systems to get the information they need. The second is really establishing a strong connection between the financials, the back office systems, and the front office application, ultimately more business value. And something I think Leanne will also touch upon is greater IT alignment with what the business is trying to do, really along with the business objectives and making sure the organization is achieving its corporate objectives and goals. And before I hand it over to Leanne, I just wanted to summarize really seeing as 5 key use cases for cloud-based data integration. So the first talked about briefly is data migration. Help me my system, my old systems to the cloud, or help me move towards these new modern cloud services. The second is synchronization. So I now got data into a cloud environment. Help me get in sync with my existing systems. I'm either sunsetting those or keeping them up and running for some period of time. So you might have a Siebel CRM system and you're moving to Salesforce, but for a period of time you want to do an account and contact synchronization between those systems. Maybe you have support running on Siebel as you think about the Service Cloud, and you started with SFA from Salesforce. You move the whole platform, but for some time you need to have both systems up and running. Monitor and validate. This is really all about data quality. When it comes to CRM, it's often garbage in, garbage out situation. So you need to be able to ensure you have timely, relevant, trustworthy information. Reps are really always working with the right data within their CRM environment in particular. And then lastly, data replication. So great, get your data into say Salesforce.com or cloud systems. You've figured out a data strategy and data quality solution, but now you get the data out for either backup and compliance or for analytics, for business intelligence. So some of the key use cases we see at Informatica Cloud. And I'm going to talk about the Salesforce integration scenarios. Really, when it comes to ERP and CRM, it's typically a customer master or product master or order tree kinds of synchronization or integration. The typical flows of data to and from these environments. So I'd like to hand it over to Leanne to really take us through how they went about integrating Salesforce with Oracle, and to maybe share some of the pitfalls we've seen she's seen over at Ray Systems and best practices. I do want to remind you on the call that you can use the chat line, and we'll get to questions along the way. With that, I'm going to introduce Leanne to tell us about Ray Systems.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leanne Q. Chen, and I'm the Director for Corporate IT at Ray Systems. I oversee and manage our global IT environment, which include in parts of the world. And recently, go on to the next slide, please. So the history of Ray System, let me just touch base a little bit on. We are leading a global provider of rapidly deployable, in intelligent gas volatile organic compounds, which is the VOCs, and radiation detection system. It has product innovator of portable PDs, and is known as DPID company, which is the photoionization detection in real time through wireless platform. Ray system detectors are used in public events, in oil and gas space, in industrial hygiene, in civil defense, a first responder or hazmat, plus all kinds of disasters we had witnessed in the 2010 BP Gulf oil crisis, plus the recently Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster. So our product is being used globally in those crisis areas. We published in 1991. Our product is used in more than 120 countries, about 37 global patents on the PID, sensors, on multi-gas, and on the wireless technology. And we are headquartered here in San Jose, California. Next slide, please.
Sure. Can you also give us a quick introduction to your role and how long you've been at Ray and kind of your responsibilities over there?
Oh, sure. So I'm the director of IT, as I indicated earlier. I manage the global IT environment. So we have IT operation in China, in Copenhagen, in Hong Kong, as well as here at the headquarters in San Jose. And I've been with the company, more than 15 years. So I've seen how it has gone through up and down throughout the economic environment. So luckily, with our products, we have really come through the recent economic downturn fairly nicely. And I think I'm going to go on to the next slide now. So we systems of a crisis management type of a product offering, it is imperative that we can respond quickly to the request for any kind of a repair or replacement, and it is imperative for the workers as well as the public safety. We needed to create a fully automated order process to service the order quickly and in an efficient fashion. So on the left-hand side, you could see some of the products we make, radiation, our wireless area arrays, with the mapping, so the GPS is deployed in all the areas where you want to detect or sense the exposure of the different chemicals and radiation. On the right-hand side, those are the applications or the environment where how the workers can protect themselves as well as use our instruments to detect the hazardous environment. Go ahead, Swan.
So time order processing is really critical to Ray systems.
I think it's we have a lot of overnight type of orders that we needed to get out as soon as possible. So why Informatica Cloud? We evaluated 3 vendors when we first looked at it, and let me just pull back a little bit. We're one of the probably early adopters of the Oracle ERP R12 system, so we upgrade to the R12 right in about the beginning of 2008. Through the 2008, after we upgraded the system, we also incorporated or integrated another operating entities into the global single instance of our ERP system. Throughout 2009, we basically tried to stabilize the system. At the beginning of 2010, we were looking at integration between the Salesforce to the Oracle system because there's just too much dual entries and many different data accuracy issues, and we couldn't. The service folks are really busy trying to enter 2 systems on the front end on the Salesforce and the back end on the Oracle system, and it was very disruptive to the customers when they're on the phone with them. So we evaluated 3 vendors, and we chose Informatica Cloud for its use of for its ease of use and the intuitive user interface. So I have to say, what really brought us to the Informatica Cloud was after the that we have with all 3 vendors. Informatica had their specialists, application specialists, with my Oracle business analyst, and we simply drag and drop into the interface table, and then we ran the task and through the source and the targets and so forth. And then both systems got updated. So we know it was working, and that was the only cloud-based system which is what I was looking for. That was the only true cloud-based system that was actually working. Two other vendors, they came and showed us and danced around a little bit, but the reality was that there really was not a true cloud-based solution for this integration. And that's the reason why we went with Informatica. And we then synchronized the Salesforce CRM with the Oracle ERP, EBS, R12 system. And it's a bidirectional integration. We take the accounts and the products and pricing out of the Oracle system, which is the source data for all of our business processes, and upload it to the Salesforce. And when the Salesforce create a quote or and close the quote, it will automatically download order, which will automatically get booked on the Oracle system. And when the Oracle system ships the stuff, it will then create a tracking number and all of the detailed items, and will then pass back to Salesforce again. So when the service folks is on the phone with the serial number, they would know exactly when it was shipped and what was the tracking number. Obviously, the last bullet was that has really improved the order accuracy through the data cleansing. Actually, I think Informatica helped us with the initial cleansing, so we uploaded all of the source data, the master data, with a clean slate. So go ahead with the next one. Well, just from a business application perspective, we handle the Gulf oil crisis requests very efficiently to protect the health of workers. Our service team now focuses on the customer service rather than doing the order entry back and forth between the two systems. And our cloud integration eliminates any kind of a dual data entry problems. We capture the orders from the Salesforce. We pass on the vital shipment information back to the Salesforce after it's being shipped out of the Oracle system. So go ahead, next one, please. True applications that you see from the BP Gulf oil crisis. I see the area monitoring of the shoreline, which that's a multi-ray system that we have, detects 5 different chemicals, use 5 different chemical sensors to detect any kind of hazardous components. The next one is the monitoring of the decontamination of the people and equipment. So we use the wireless capability. Obviously, we place our area array at the wireless in the different strategic area, and we pulled it and go to the web and monitor the exposure of each one of the what we're displaying for each one of the sensors. And obviously, we can protect the cleanup of the workers from the exposure to the toxic oil byproducts, and I see that the guy is measuring trying to see what the percentage or the exposure rate is for each one of the exposure they're being presented to. Last but not least, we because of the wildlife protection of the wildlife, we also use the monitoring system to measure if they have been contained with any kind of a toxic element for the different. So this is basically the platform that we have, Oracle eBusiness Suite, which is the R12, through the Informatica Cloud, and then pass it bidirectionally to Salesforce. We go from the product, the master source data of products, the pricing. We pass it to Salesforce. Salesforce then gives us the quotes or the closed quotes. It will then pass it back to us to the Oracle systems, which then booked an order on the business back end, and then create a tracking number when it's shipped, and then pass it back onto the Salesforce again. And I think that pretty much explained what was described at the bottom of the screen right now. Account information, Salesforce CRM is completely mapped to the Oracle. So the integrity, I think Darren had mentioned, was one of the key elements in making this automated process. So you never have erroneous data because of the manual entry, because of too many parts and giving customer actually their own information. Sometimes we have one source data, and everything gets automated. So only one exit. Go ahead.
A question that we had talked about, I know people ask you sometimes, is how do you determine which kind of the rules around the process of the customer master and which one will win in any kind of back and forth between the systems?
Sure. I think every business may be a little bit different. A lot of it depends on how well you use each one of the applications, whether it be Salesforce or Oracle system. In our environment, basically the ERP, which is the Oracle business system, is really the source of any of our master data, such as number one, because we have a fairly complicated configuration system that can input and include any one of the 100 different sensors to be included in our configuration of the wireless product. So Oracle is definitely the source of all the master data in part number, in pricing, in discounts. And that always comes from Oracle system. So we clean up the Salesforce and then uploaded everything. And that's kind of the key issue as well, because people usually ask, well, how do you do the handshake? The initial upload actually creates this internal ID, that handshake between the Oracle system and Salesforce. So when you pass the data back and forth, you look for that internal ID, so we find the proper match. Does that answer the question?
It does, and I think actually Mark, we'll hold that thought, and Mark will show us how we handle external IDs in his demonstration. Does that sound good, Mark?
Exactly, that sounds great.
And just on the implementation side, I think you're going to talk a little, I guess not so much, but can you talk about the implementation time, how it worked, how quickly, kind of the process from start to finish with evaluation and go live?
Yeah, I think that's another beauty of the cloud-based system, is that really the whole process from beginning to end, it's about a 3-month period, and that is doing the identification, the functional specification, and when the professional service from Informatica actually started coding the interface table with my Oracle system. I think that it's important. The key success factor in this integration process is the knowledge of Oracle system or whatever you wanted to integrate. And I think Informatica has a very rich knowledge in Salesforce part of it, but Oracle systems needed to have a deep knowledge, especially on the R12, which was a new upgrade version. So it took about 3 months, and we got it done fairly quickly. I think 3 months is totally acceptable for the business.
Yep.
So the next slide now, the results is that the systems, your service order environment is now completely automated by the Informatica Cloud, which, as I indicated, was implemented in it's about 3 months period from beginning to end. We like to use Informatica Cloud as later to extend it to our European service operations, in addition to what I talked about, maybe including an integration to our FileMaker Pro, which is the database for all the serial numbers and shipping information as well.
Okay. Yep. I think that last slide, Leanne.
That was great. Okay.
I do want to ask you, I think that's a great overview, and we'll touch upon some of the things you highlighted in Mark's demonstration. I did want to ask you a question about the relationship with the vendor. I mean, a lot of people, you've been in IT for a long time and worked with a lot of on-premise solutions, including Oracle. Is there a difference in the relationship between a software service vendor like Salesforce or Informatica? How has that been? What level of support do you get from your cloud vendors, and is it any different from on-premise vendors?
I think it could be true, and with any vendors, even with Oracle, a huge company. And because we were the initial, we were pretty one of the early adopters, but they were really, really very, very helpful. They had a dedicated person to our account, and we had really identified a huge amount of issues and resolved a lot of the initial bugs. With Informatica, I think also back then, I think the cloud solution was in its initial stage as well. Is that correct? Would you call it? Would you say that's probably accurate in about early 2010?
I think you would late 2009, early 2010, and then as you said, you were working Oracle R12, so that was relatively new to our team at the time. So,
okay.
Definitely.
So Informatica was extremely. They looked at the process to be. They were extremely helpful. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't. Brian, it's up to till today, and I'm sorry I don't remember Brian's last name, who was the person that actually did the initial POC for us and did a tremendous job that really sold it on the spot, basically, because everything worked. And I think when you have a good knowledge-based type of application engineer that knows how to make things happen and happen at the initial stage, we just stuck with it. I mean, with any kind of projects, there's a lot of the detailed things, but I think vendor-wise, Salesforce is really, we didn't do a whole lot on the Salesforce. There's nothing except for the knowledge, what data item to moved into the interface table. But there was a more complicated, more in-depth, layered type of implications on the Oracle side of things.
Yep, that makes sense. Great. That's a good shout out for Mr. Brian Plaster, who runs our customer success team.
Yes. Thank you again, Brian. Yes.
Let's start and thank you again, Leanne. And if you can stay on, there are some questions coming in the chat, so we'll bring you back into a couple of these as we go through.
Okay.
I know many of you on the call are relatively new to Informatica Cloud. You may already know Informatica, but you may not be aware of our cloud capabilities. So we'll spend a couple of minutes on that, and then I'll hand it over to Mark. So first of all, if you're a Salesforce customer, you've probably heard of us. We have been recognized 3 years in a row as the top App Exchange integration solution, and that's based on our customer reviews and really the quality of those reviews. So something to think about looking out at the App Exchange for different technologies, different solutions. Check those reviews. And just wanted to explain to you how Informatica Cloud works. So basically, you visit informaticacloud.com, and as Leanne mentioned, one of the first things they did was get going on a trial. And really experiencing the benefits of cloud right out of the gate. So log into Informatica Cloud, and when you first register for that trial, you're asked to download, install our Secure Agent. That Secure Agent is effectively our Power Center runtime engine. So this is really the processing engine that is going to be doing the data movement, the data transformation between systems. On the web is where you create your jobs, set your schedules, really do the designing of tasks and determining when they're going to run. Once tasks execute, they send the instructions to the Secure Agent, and then data moves bidirectionally between systems. So a very important point is that while the name of the service is Informatica Cloud, we do not host your data. The data does not flow through our servers. We're really just facilitating the movement of that data between your existing applications, databases, and files. So I'll talk a bit about that, but I wanted to kind of a preview to what Informatica Cloud looks like architecturally. The other important point that we talked a lot about to our customers and prospects about is really the breadth of endpoints that we can integrate with. So one use case that Mark will talk about is application synchronization. So being able to, like Leanne talked about at Race Systems, being able to rapidly integrate both in batch and real time data between applications. Whether it's a very process-centric, real-time flow, or it's an overnight run, we can really manage both of those. But I want to show you really the kind of the breadth of endpoints that Informatica Cloud can integrate with. And we actually have a marketplace where we encourage our partners also to post their IP, their assets up on this marketplace, so that they can bring those to market through the Informatica environment. before I hand it over to Mark, we are seeing really adoption across the board from industries as well as organizations of all sizes. So Leanne talked about the size of Ray Systems. How many employees do you have now over at Ray, Leanne? Roughly?
Thanks. Yeah, roughly it's about between 750 to about 800 people globally.
Okay. So good size organization, and I know Mark will talk about some of the very large global 2,000 companies that Informatica is well known for. We can have an express offering for very small organizations to be able to take advantage of. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Mark, who will take us through what we call the 5-minute challenge, as well as talk specifically about some of the ERP integration that we're able to help our customers with every day. So, Mark.
Okay, appreciate it. And just let me know if you can see my desktop, guys.
Yes, we.
Beautiful. Okay, some of the things that Leanne said in my mind, I hear rapid, efficient, and speed. And we're going to bring to the table for everybody. You had the need to actually integrate your data. You could probably be doing it in about 30 minutes or less. I'll just start off real quickly. I want to show you the Informatica Cloud homepage. If you did want to go out, you could actually try it now for free for 30 days. Very easy to get set up. The architecture diagram Darren showed before is that simple and elegant. But I wanted to show you something about performance and numbers. And I'm going to go to our trust site. Now, the site that talks about our security and whatnot, and I'm going to go to the system status at what actually got processed last night. So you can look going back X number of days to see how much data was processed using Informatica Cloud. And last night, over almost 130,000 individual tasks were run, pushing 700 million rows of data into and out of Salesforce and other applications. It's the end of the vendor pushing these kind of volumes or moving this kind of data, and even include the overall Informatica customers that use our on-premise stuff. So but this is a great source for you guys to go to and look at, and if you want to delve into security or whatnot. But to the 5-minute challenge. We're talking about Oracle applications. So I have Salesforce opened, right? So you'll notice I have no accounts loaded, no contacts. I have my Oracle eBusiness open. What I want to do is link these two systems together. And we'll do a quick I want to get the slide that Darren showed. I'll build it out a little bit. And what we're going to do today is we're going to log into our browser, right out. We're going to build a task. It's going to, through our agent, it's going to pull it from our Oracle eBiz, load it out to Salesforce. Right? To be DBA, we're not going to need to have super technical skills. We'll do it in 5 minutes. Let's go for it. And let me just navigate. We're going to play with some customers. My supervisor role here, you'll see a bunch of customers. And what I want to do is get any new customers or any changes that have happened in my eBiz into Salesforce. Right? So that's today. Jump into Salesforce, and you'll notice that there are no accounts loaded. Right? 0 things in here. We're going to do it. But get to Informatica Cloud. I could go to our regular site and log in, or I can very neatly have it integrated within Salesforce if I want. So you'll note an integration tab. Link right to my Informatica Cloud account. Notice it took me right in through a single sign-on, and it's tabbed like Salesforce or a lot of the SaaS applications, so it's really easy to navigate. And the thing I'm presented with is what I've done in the past, and you'll see all the jobs I've run, all these different tasks that I've run to move data in any direction. What I want to do now is let's move it. Let's build one out. So I'm going to go to my services, and you'll see I have quite a few. I have 16 pages of different use cases, but our important stuff is eBiz today. So build a new task. We'll call it properly. Load account load to Salesforce, and I'm going to pick how the data is going to go in. And Darren mentioned something about external IDs. As did Leanne, I'm going to use the internal key from my Oracle systems as identifier in Salesforce. My next would be sourcing data. Pick my Oracle eBiz. Now if you'll notice, I have these things called connections. And I have lots of them. So wherever a secure agent lives, I can access data. And you just see in my task, on my connection list, all kinds of different data endpoints. But again, on Oracle. So let's just go find Oracle. And then I want to actually go find my table. So at that point, you can see in the background, I didn't point out that I can join tables together. I can do SQL pass-through. And we'll wait while this goes into my eBiz systems, and it's going to pull all my metadata forward so I can take a look and pick the proper entity that I want. You guys can type questions in, and we'll take them at the end. So we'll just give this a couple more seconds. Here we go. We should see our tables pop up. One more second. I'm going to pick my. All right, so I have all the tables in eBiz. I want to pick this particular one. Give that one. So there's thousands of tables within the eBiz. Now, if I want to preview the data very quickly, I can take a look at it. So this is the right data, or start to analyze it. We'll get a preview first 10 rows or so, and we can see that, all right, this is what I want. And notice that I have a party type field. I want to actually filter on this. I want to slim down what I'm going to pull out of Oracle to load my accounts today. I can preview data to in Excel if I need to. Next, we're going to write the data somewhere, and we're going to pick our Salesforce connection. And now that we read the metadata across from Salesforce, we'll pick our account object. And next, filter it. So 3 steps very easily. 4th step is going to be just as easy. We're going to pick our data from our parties field table. I'm going to look for I'll go right into an advanced filter because I'm going to build a couple of conditions with it. And we will put in organization. Grab the right have. Let's go back and show you. We'll do the wizard first, and then I'm going to expand it. So we're looking for party type. We'll go find our party type. And it equals organization. So that's it. But now I want to add a little complexity to it. I'm going to go to advanced filtering. I'm just going to put it, and we're going to say and. What I'm going to do now is look for records that are just organizations, not people, and then find a record that's changed since yesterday. And that's the data. So here's what's the road. Now, if there's an exact match to fields, it would auto map. But rather that many, so it's a drag and drop. So let's go find party ID, which we're going to bring to our external ID field, and we're going to bring it to our account number field, and address information, and a bunch of different address lines in Oracle eBiz that might not map into Salesforce. So I can really neatly address line 1 over, my address line 2, and so on, address line 3, 4, and now all of a sudden it exposes all the functionality that Informatica Cloud has. So I have 150 functions that I can apply to my data. And let's bring a couple of more fields. Let's look for our party name. Put the name field in Salesforce. State and like that. So we'll go for our state field. We can bring field over to our. Let me just again to our address area. We'll go find our code. All right, so our code and we're over. So that just pick and choose field I want. Bring it to country. We can find postal code.
And Mark, you mentioned that concat. Can you just show us some of what's available if you click on that to see the kinds of options in the library?
Absolutely. We're going to jump right into that. And I want to pick one more field for our mapping. From here. So I'm going to concat. So these 2 fields are concatenated together. Now you'll notice I have all the fields I can work on. and opens available. So if I jump into my function list, you'll see 150 different ways to slice that data. As Leon mentioned before, Informatica helped do data cleansing, and this is one of the ways to make that happen. I see the concat field, the two fields together, and that would be in my character folder, and all the different things I can do to operate on string fields. So let's say, okay, more fields as we go along, but we'll skip for now. The next step I might want to do is schedule it. Options here. I can not run the task on a schedule. I can run it on a schedule, and we'll pick one. They've been built, or maybe not. Let's go build one for the 5-minute interval. So we'll call this our 5-minute.
Some margins come in about scheduling. If you already have an existing scheduling tool, can you take advantage of that? Can you use that with Informatica Cloud?
You can use our REST API to call it from typically any scheduling tool that you have in-house today. The ability to run by clicking the run button, the ability to schedule it the way I'm doing it right now, and then you have the ability to schedule it the way you want to, after events, trigger from something in Salesforce, so you have quite a lot of flexibility.
REST API?
Yeah, through API, exactly. And what we didn't mention is that the service upgrades every 3 months or so, like Salesforce. You'll find new functionality at your fingertips every 3 months or so. Let me just here, I can actually customize who gets a notification. So I can pick only an error or a success warning. We'll skip that for now. I can execute pre-commands and post-commands, so there may be things I want to do after or before a task. And in my case here, special Salesforce things. So I can create a success file if I want, or adjust the batch size. Okay, so our task can run it.
So as you do, if I can bring Leanne in really quick. So your organization didn't have Informatica Power Center skills before you used Informatica Cloud. How many people do you have trained on Informatica Cloud? I mean, what does it take in terms of resources to maintain and use the service?
Well, in the beginning, after we complete the integration deployment, basically our administrator on Salesforce and our Oracle business analysts are really trying to stabilize the environment. But within a couple of weeks, they just hand it off to the user. So functional user actually can log on to Informatica themselves, schedule it when they have a hot order, and even schedule it run on a scheduled timer. And it's fairly smooth. We just haven't had that much problem at all. So to answer your question, you don't need a whole lot of technical background in order to run those schedules, as service folks really know how to do it on their own now.
Okay, great. Mark, as you're going back into your what you're showing here, there's a question about bidirectional sync. Is this a bidirectional sync you're showing?
This will be one leg of it. So I'm loading into Salesforce. We could build a second task to pull out of Salesforce on a change basis, a change data basis as necessary to load back into eBiz. And that's what Leon's team is doing today. Our example today will just be a one-way sync. But yes,
and maybe you can touch upon task flow as you keep going.
Absolutely, yeah. And one thing I do want to point out too that Leanne just said was, functional users will come into the system, but her team also has the ability to lock the tasks down so that those folks can't modify them if that's how the IT group has chosen. So there's lots of security around too. I want to point out I have so many tasks listed, I can put them into views like I can in Salesforce to easily navigate to them. And I have an Oracle eBiz view. And here's the one, you can see I have a bunch of tasks already built. Here's the one we just built, and it's on our 5 run. It might have started already, but let's kick it off manually for now. All right, so that's 5 minutes is an automatic cycle. Run I can do manually, and the REST API will allow you to do it from an external program. I just want a detailed view, and you'll see the row count start to pop up in a second. It's going to look for changes since yesterday. While that's running, it's always important to know that you can get help. So Leanne and the Informatica team on hand to help. But when you leave, she might contact again or get self-help. And you'll notice I actually have support built in. So I can open a ticket with Informatica right from my application. I'm having a problem, I need a technique, or you're available to me. Maybe you need a little more on Oracle eBiz integration. You might go out to our YouTube channel. Right? You can click them out here, type in Oracle, different use cases of Oracle. Right? At your fingertips to help you get your job done. Let's just check the cloud. Let's go home. And now the process ran. 3 rows got loaded. Let's do Salesforce. We're going to screen, and we're going to see new accounts loaded in here. Right? So this came over from eBiz. Either I ran it or it was automatic. But now let's go make it happen again. Let's go change something in Oracle and see a new record come through. So we're going to go Oracle eBiz. And I'm going to pick special distribution company and notice that it's registry ID 5298 2009, and it's not in Salesforce right now. But let's add a phone number to it. All right, so we're going to click and contact points and add a new telephone. Code of US, and we'll give it a code of 516, and we'll give it 555-1212. And we'll extension, it's active, and the time zone is Eastern. And we'll apply it. All right, let's go back to our overview. Now to Informatica. Let's see if that 5-minute interval picked up. Let's see if we monitor it running. So nothing's, so let's go do it ourselves. We'll go back to our systems, and we'll kick it off automatically. Manually. So now that's changed, right? So hopefully we'll see 4 records pop up, and in our Salesforce interface, we'll see that record pop in. So we'll give that into run. Anything else you'd like me? Oh, you wanted me to look at task flows. Oh, there we go. We don't even have to. So our 4th record just came over. Let's go back to Salesforce. Let's do a refresh. We'll give that a second. Special distribution services. Well, actually, look, there might be a problem here. But actually know what this is? This is a number coming into a text field. And we might want to fix that, right? Transform it and make it look like the account ID that's in Oracle. Let's go fix it. Watch how fast we can do this. So we're in console, remember, right? But watch how easy I can go through and fix this. Go through. You'll see the detail information. It took 13 seconds to do that transformation of moving the data. I can look at a detail log. Or I can go going at the task, and I can go right to my mapping. And that was my account number. And I actually want to use one of those functions Darren pointed out. Click on our par ID, and what I do is it's a double precision field in, or make it an integer so I can chop off those zeros. So TEGER. I can actually manually type it in. I can pull it. Well, valid logic. Maybe I don't have it right because I just chopped it off again. As a developer, we do these things iteratively, but we would try to catch them up front when we analyze the data. Let's say N. We'll go off. And now I'll show you a few other things. So while that's running, we have services, so there's multiple ways we can move data. There's replication, assessment, loader, and a way to integrate on-premise stuff. Physical things about the environment, my agents, multiple agents running, all my actions, all my schedules, tasks. I might have to operate and run things in specific order. So maybe out of these systems, I need to load the accounts, the opportunities, and they have to load in a proper order. So I use what's called a task flow to do that. So I can look at one of my tasks here, and you can see I have stacked up to run, and these are dependent on each other. So to load more data from my Ray systems or my internal Oracle, to actually build out some task flows to put that data in specific order. Check back, see if our task finished. And so we have task ran. Let's go to Salesforce and see if we cleaned up that account number. And watched it with one of the integration tools, my functions. So, on top of moving the data easily, I can really cleanse and fix that data as soon as you see a problem. Bumping up towards the end, and I guess we want to take a little breath now.
Yeah, it's really cool, Mark. You clearly got excited when you saw that data come in a different way and went back and changed it. It was awesome. So can you let's just close out. A couple of questions coming in, and I just want to kind of wrap up. We're at the end of our time. So bring it back to the PowerPoint. I'll just kind of close out and point people to really next steps and how they can move forward with this kind of cloud integration. So John, if you can just make the presenter back to our slides. Okay, great. So you saw hopefully in the demonstration really an example of the ease of use, and I think there's you heard some of the things. You saw some of the things demonstrated that really back up the kind of implementation that we're seeing over at Ray Systems. And I wonder if Leanne, if you have any other feedback or thoughts from the demonstration. Did it look pretty similar to what you're doing over at Ray?
I think the logic, it seems a lot more now. So the filtering logic, it seemed, because in the beginning there were some things we couldn't quite do it and we had to go around. It looks like there's a lot more. So I would imagine that the cloud product that you are offering is increasingly being developed and enhanced and improved and so forth. So I'd like to see that.
Yeah, definitely. That's maybe as a resource. I'll follow up and point to where some of the information about the new capabilities are on the Informatica Cloud community site. But yeah, that's a good point. So, and Mark touched upon this as well. We're multi-tenant service, so we're introducing new functionality, 2 or 3 times a year with new releases. In our summer release, we recently introduced a lot of more control and governance capabilities for the IT audience, so the ability to really control and manage who can run what tasks, when, and how. We introduced delegated administration and some additional authentication and security features. So these kinds of requests, as we're seeing larger scale implementations of cloud integration, we've really been moving towards delivering what the IT audience is going to need to feel comfortable with some of the self-service benefits. The question that came in as you were demoing, Mark, I really quickly want to hit it, is around the Power Center integration. So if you have Power Center, can you just kind of size what that would look like if they wanted to extend it and use Informatica Cloud?
So there's a couple of ways to do things. So anything that you saw me build today can be exported out of the cloud and run in Power Center. Right, so that's a first. But in Power Center, I can take 4 things that I built and just export them and run in the cloud. Right, as full mapping, it operates as a black box that the user can't modify, so it's a great way to deploy services. And then you can take maplets that I have married all kinds of functionality that are locked into the Power Center realm, now exposed out in the cloud as what's called a plugin. So in the 6-step wizard that you had saw work through, I bring in a maplet, and we'll call it a plugin, and plop right in the middle of my flow. And examples that I've used in the past are ways to validate data, so standard validation of email addresses and things like that, or deduping or just validation. So think really useful, usable components that I can plop into any one of those mappings and use all those mappings and give a new user community, right? Ease of use to take some stuff that was into my Power Center environment and run a cloud-based environment and make it really easy to use.
If you have experienced this, I think you were going to mention the YouTube channel, but I would also recommend just trial at informaticacloud.com. You will be able to, as Mark mentioned, reusability, interoperability with your existing Informatica platform is really a key component of Informatica Cloud. So mappings you build in Power Center can run in the cloud and vice versa. So a lot more of that, that interoperability being leveraged and used in very large implementations of our platform, as well as now Informatica Cloud as a complementary solution. InformaticaCloud.com is the website. I wanted just to quickly thank Ann for participating and sharing with us how things are going over at Ray Systems, and also thank you, Mark, for a fantastic demonstration of Oracle, eBusiness, and Salesforce.com integration. With that, I will wrap up today's webinar. And Mark, any parting thoughts or comments before we conclude?
No.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Mark. I I see it's some new improvement, which I'm glad to see now. I'll revisit that a little bit to see what are new things that we could apply in our logic and so forth. But go ahead, Mark.
And what Darren said is go out and try it, and take it to the cloud community and the YouTube channel to help you too. And then you could always reach out to us because the help will work for you also in location.
Okay, thank you again, everybody, for attending, and we look forward to working with you in the trial and some of our customers on the line, so extending what you're already doing with Informatica Cloud with some of the new capabilities. Thank you, and that ends today's webinar.
Thank you for joining us today. This concludes today's web conference. You may now disconnect.